Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I've recently been getting a lot of requests for the eye makeup looks that I have been wearing in my previous videos, and I'm almost always without fail using the Soft Glam Palette on my eyes these days. It's my absolute favourite all-time palette. I use it every day unless I'm trying to force myself to change it up and go back to one of my other palettes, but almost always I am using this palette right here. So instead of doing every single eye look that people have asked me for a tutorial on, which would basically take up the next 6 months of videos, I thought I would do them all in one. Today I'm going to be basically filming all of my usual looks that I do with this palette, so I can show you them all in one quick short space. That way, if you ever want to know what eye look I've done or what shades I've used, what brushes I've used, it's all in the one place and you can refer back to it, and I can just say to you, well, that's look 4 from that video, and I'll link this video in every video where I've got one of the eye looks from this tutorial in it, and I can tell you, well, that's look 4, that's look 7, etc. Hopefully this will also be really helpful if you have this palette, to give you some ideas of shades that go together and what they look like on the eye, or if you're thinking about picking up this palette but you're not really sure, you know, what it's like, how versatile it is, what shades and what looks you can create with it. It's going to be really helpful for that because I'm going to be doing 10 different eye looks in the one place. So I will start off with the eye makeup that I've got on right now, and I will talk you through that one so you can see what brushes I use, the technique and how much shadow I use, etc. And all of that. But then I will speed things up for time, otherwise we'll be here all day. But these looks are all very easy, very quick. All of these looks took me under 4 minutes to do just the one eye. Most of them took me under 3 minutes or even under 2 minutes to do. I'm using very few shades, very few affordable brushes. There's no concealer, no cut in the crease, no crazy techniques. It's all very, very easy. You guys know I'm not a makeup artist. I am just the same as you. So if I can do all of these looks, you can do all of these looks. All of these looks will be very wearable for like every day up to maybe like a date night, but nothing extreme, nothing hard. I'll pretty much use every shade in the palette other than the black, because I really only use that to like set my liner or in my like lash line or to smoke things out, which I'm not going to be doing today. So I'm going to use every shade in the palette. I'm going to be giving them very, very easy. Bear in mind that I'm doing 10 different eyeshadow looks, so my blending might not be as perfect as I would normally like. I'm not going to be doing my lower lash line because I don't want to keep wiping that area away, so I am just going to focus on the lid. But every single time I do my eye, I just use my first shade and smoke a little bit of it under my lower lash line. So that's what I would have done if I was going to complete the look. I'm not going to be putting mascara on, so bear that in mind, because again, I don't want to have to keep taking it off and on and pull all my eyelashes out. I'm not going to be doing my brow bone every time because I basically use Tempera every single time to do my brow bone, so I don't want to be repetitive. So I will just do that the first time for the first look, but every other look I will just leave Tempera on my brow bone. Also, to let you know that in between every time I take my eyeshadow off and do a new look, I will be using the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot to prep my eye and setting that with the MAC Light Mineralize Skin Finish. And before we get started, I'm going to go through all the brushes that I use whenever I use this palette, so that you know what brushes we are using. So the first brush I always start off with is the Sigma Tapered Blending Brush. This is the E40, and this is the perfect fluffy brush for like blending your first and second shades. I then use either the Morphe M441, which is a fluffier brush, so it's pretty much the same size as that first E40 brush, but it is fluffier and not as dense, so it kind of gives you a softer application. Or I go in with the Zoeva 225, which is this guy just here, and is a lot denser but smaller for like that second and third shadow in the crease, so it doesn't travel as high up. One of my favourite brushes that I picked up recently is the Blank Canvas Cosmetics E42. This is the perfect crease brush for building up the colour in the crease, so that is kind of the next one that I use. For going on the lid, I always use this flat brush from MAC, and this is the 242. Next up, the Zoeva pencil brush. This is the 230, just a standard pencil brush, and I use this if I'm going to do like a cut crease. I also use this to apply my colour under the lash line, or my lower lash line. This is a completely random Boots brush, and this is what I use to put Tempera just on the brow bone. It's just a perfect sort of shader brush, but it is just an unknown Boots zone. And then this is the Zoeva 238 Precise Shader. So this is the brush that I use for my inner corner highlight, or to put a highlight on my brow bone, like an actual highlight, not the Tempera shade. If I go in with like my Amrezy highlighter and just add a bit of shimmer up there, this is the brush I use. I also use this for my inner corner highlight also. So those are all my favourite eye brushes that I use pretty much whenever I do my Soft Glam Palette looks. As I said, I will talk you through this first look, but then we will speed things up for time and just for boredom, you know? You don't want to sit there for 3 hours watching me take my eye makeup off and put it back on again. I have on the screen what shades I am using, and I will also list in the description bar what shades I used in each look for reference. If you ever wanted to see a tutorial on any of the eye makeup looks that I've worn in my previous videos, keep watching. So I always start off with like carving out my brows using my MAC Soft Ochre paint pot, and this is the Delium 936 brush. I get all my brushes pretty much from Beauty Bay, and this is a really affordable one. Just a like flat concealer brush, and then I just pick up a load more and whack it all over the lid just roughly, making sure you get right into that inner corner. And then when it's kind of all over, I just go in with my mini beauty blender and just kind of blend it all out. And you can see the difference now between this eye and the one without. It's a lot redder, and you can see all veins and things like that. So it just gives you a nice, even, perfect base. Then always set that with my MAC Mineralize Skin Finish Natural in the shade Light. Just feel like this brings an extra little bit of coverage to the lid, makes everything silky to blend into, and also brightens it up because it is a really light shade. I'm going to start off with the Dusty Rose shade, and I'm just kind of angling that, like following the angle of my lower lash line. So I'm packing the majority of the colour on this outer V and then blending it in towards the corner of the eye. So it gives you like a more open eye effect. And then going back in with that same colour just to build it up a bit. This first shade, I like to blend it between halfway between my crease, which is just there, and my brow. And that's about where I sort of fade the colour out. Next up, I'm going into the shade Sienna, and I'm going to be using my Morphe M441. It's just a really fluffy brush, so I'm just blending that all in the crease, but not going as high as I did with that first shade. Next, I'm going to switch up to my Blank Canvas E42 brush, which is this perfect crease brush, and I'm going to go in with Mulberry. And I'm going to pack this on the outer V and bring it a bit further in than I have the other shades. This is going to be like the shade I use to make the halo. And then I'm going to pack this on this inner third as well. The tip of the brush, I'm going to join the two together in the crease. I like about halo eyes is you can be as messy as you like, and it all just comes together at the end. And give that another little blend of the edges. I'm going to take my flat brush from MAC, which is the 242, and I'm going to pack a rose pink just in the centre to make that halo. Obviously you could carve this out with concealer to make it more intense, or you could also put a like shimmer over the top, like the Stila Glitter and Glow. I sometimes use the Urban Decay Grind glitter liner on top of here if I want it to be extra bling. You could also just spray your brush with some Fix Plus if you wanted to make it a bit more intense, but this is pretty much how I like it. Then I'm just going to take some of the Tempera shade to highlight my brow bone. I'm just going to go in with some mascara using my Lancome Monsieur Big, and we are done. 10 of my go-to eye makeup looks all in one place for you. I hope you found this really, really helpful. Whenever I wear one of these looks in my future videos, I will link this video in the description bar and tell you which look that I did in that video, so you've got an easy reference point forever and beyond whenever I have used this palette. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe before you go so I can see you again. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.